Welcome back to another Vinyasa flow with me, Freddie. Today we're focusing on the hips. I would recommend for you to have a couple of yoga bricks. If you don't have them, it is possible to do the practice without, but you might need something that is of this height. Could be a water bottle. This could work quite nicely. 2, if you have them. Let's start by lying down. Lying down on the back, bringing your left leg long, pulling your left toes back, drawing the right thigh into the belly, and pressing that space of the natural arch in the lower back just down to the floor. It's like you're encouraging this drawing back of the navel to the spine. Start to roll that right ankle both ways. And we're coming into half happy baby here. So holding the outside edge of the foot, extending sole of the foot up to the sky. And we bring this left arm out, almost working to stabilize the shoulders there. Could you breathe out and secure both wings of the shoulder blades down to the earth? And then scanning your mind's eye down a little bit further to the pelvis. And with the weight of this right leg, is it surfing a little bit off to that right side? Could you almost peel your left hip bone open to the sky and allow this left arm to weigh you down? So neutral in the pelvis, active in the left toes. We'll take another breath here. The knees drawing into the direction of the armpit. Breathing out. Crossing your right thigh over your left thigh. Now you've got the option here to imagine the shins have been put into shrink wrap and they are squeezing to the midline, or you might take it as far as to tuck the right top of the foot behind the left calf muscle into our eagle bind with the legs. We're then taking our arms out into this wide T shape. Think about spreading your wings, palms to the sky. Exhale, allow your legs to fall over to that left side. If you had a brick nearby and you feel that there's almost a tugging sensation in the lower space of the back, you could always provide a little bit of a stopper, a little bit of wadding there by placing the brick beneath the knee. Turn your head to the right and guide that right shoulder blade down to the earth. And we're holding in this twisted roots for another 2 breaths. In for 2. Out for 2. In for 1. Out for 1. Breath in. Using the pressure of elbows, backs of the hands into the earth to guide the legs back in over belly. We're going to unravel the legs, but keep the knees hovering over the hip space. Shins are parallel to the sky, and you're going to tuck your chin into your chest and collect your head into your hands. Elbows go wide. Think of minimizing this gap, this natural arch in the lower back. Could you press the lower back down into the mat, scoop the navel back to the spine here. Yogi bicycle, extending that right leg. Leave the knee tracking over the hip and lift that right elbow over to the left knee. Exhale. Inhale, we come back to center. Keep the shoulder blades lifted off the earth. Exhale, the left leg extends. We keep the right knee where it is. We lift the left elbow to the right knee and then inhale back to center. Keep on going. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale once more. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. From here, crossing your right ankle bone over the left thigh, and you want to be active in this right foot. Pull the toes back. Can we find here a threading of this right arm through that loop, through that gap, and the hands to catch either behind thigh or over the front of the leg, finding the shin. Draw the left thigh in toward the heart. Ground the lower back down into the earth, our figure 4, or eye of the needle. Suchivandrasana is the Sanskrit. Maybe you start to roll the left ankle. Just give it a bit of a stir, both ways. Soften your belly. Drop your shoulders down away from the ears. And maybe you explore pressing that right elbow to the inner right thigh, giving a little more external rotation to that thigh bone. So knee pressing away, my knees pressing away from the heart to the end of the mat. And we do all of that on the other side, so release the legs. Give a good kick into the feet, shake everything off. Half happy baby, that right leg extends all the way down. You're pulling the right toes back. And we'll just give a hug in, so just giving a little bit of lower belly compression. Thigh draws in. Start to roll the left ankle, wake things up on this left side. Holding the outer edge of the foot, right arm out to the side, sole of the left foot up to the sky, coming into your half happy baby. And there's this real intention of drawing the left knee in toward your armpit. Left knee in toward your armpit, both shoulder blades almost cemented down to the earth there. 2 more breaths, in for 2, out for 2. In for 1, out for 1. We come to cross that left thigh over the right thigh. So the knees hover over the hips. You could squeeze shins into the midline, or you could tuck the top of that left foot behind the right calf muscle. Arms splay open, find that T shape. Exhale, legs fall to the right with a prop as an assist or not, and your head turns to the left. And we're going to hold here for a good 4 breaths, encouraging this guiding of left shoulder down to the earth. For 2 more. Really reaching through the fingers. Find that sense of expansion across the collarbones as if they're smiling. They're opening. They're a little more receptive to whatever you might need, if that's energy, if that's laughter. Then press into the backs of the arms, lift the legs up over the belly. We unwind the legs and those knees stay hovered over the hips. Collect the head in the hands, chin to chest. Think squeezing a peach beneath your chin. Exhale, right leg, right elbow to left knee, yogi bicycle. Inhale to center. Exhale to twist, left leg extends. Inhale to center. Exhale, right elbow, left knee, inhale. Exhale, left elbow, right knee, inhale. Exhale, right elbow, left knee, inhale. Exhale, left elbow, right knee, inhale. We'll do 1 more for luck each side. Inhale, exhale, inhale. From here, left ankle crosses over, head sets down. Pull your left toes back and let your right heel drop heavy. We find that hole, that loop. Left hand threads through, collect the fingers either behind right thigh, or on front of that right shin. Try to keep your head down and your shoulders away from your ears, chin dropping in toward your chest. Could you sense your breath coming from the nape of your neck, elongating the back of the neck? Start to stir that right ankle clockwise, and then anti-clockwise. We're going to unwind the legs and bring it into soles of the feet together. Knees out wide, almost mimicking this butterfly or this diamond shape. Could you find that the fingers could interlace and hold the blade edges of the feet? So we're sort of squeezing in, heels toward the pubic bone. You could go for a little rock here. And if this doesn't suit, You could go for your happy baby instead. So the shape's a little bit different. Soles of the feet up. Little rock side to side. So yogi's choice. Here or here. Just a gentle massage to the back. One more breath. And then you close the inner thighs, inner seams of the legs together. Hold behind the thighs, get a good grip there, and we rock and we roll forward and back, forward and back. Take as many as you need to come up to seated. And then it matters not which shin you have crossed in front. So it could be the right shin in front of the left or the left shin in front of the right. However this naturally lands. Sukhasana, cross-legged. From here, finding your arms to move out to a T shape, crossing your right arm underneath your left arm, wrapping the forearms, potentially wrapping the wrists. If this shape does not want to work in the shoulders, in the wrists, you squeeze your forearms together, make a fist. From here, exhale, dive the elbows into the navel, tuck the chin into the chest, get low. Think of bowing down, surrendering to something. Inhale, reach the forearms forward, lift the fingers high. 2 more, exhale, round the back. Drop the elbows to the navel. Maybe offer the fingers and the wrists forward. There's that extra bit of spice to the shoulders there. And an inhale, press forearms away, lift the fingers, the elbows tall. Exhale, you think of that pubic bone tilting forward, tailbone tucking under, elbows to belly button. Inhale, reach the arms all the way up. And then we unwind the arms and we come to the right hand to the left thigh, crossing over. The left hand behind, sit tall, breath in, lift from the crown of the head, scoop the navel back to the spine, soften that left shoulder as you breathe out and you look over the back shoulder. We'll take 2 more. Inhale, seated twist. Exhale, give a little more weight to your 2 sit bones. Inhale, a little more height. Exhale, rolling open with that back left shoulder. Bring it back. Cross your left hand over your right thigh. Take your right hand behind you like a second spine. Inhale, sitting tall, turn the head. Exhale, take the gaze to drop back over the right shoulder. 2 more. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Equal weight in both sit bones. Exhale. Inhale, taking that forward. We'll bring that crunch onto the other side. So arms out into your T shape. Finding your left arm to wrap underneath your right. And we're going to uncross the legs and recross the legs. So we've changed the arms, we'll change the lower half of the body. Take a breath out. Draw the elbows into the navel, tuck the chin into the chest. Take the head low. Think bowing down. Inhale, reach the forearms forward. Lift the fingers high. I'm going to do the next 2 sideways arms so you can see the movement in the spine. So my pubic bone tilts and my tailbone tucks under, chin to chest. Inhale, this slight arching in the back as you press the forearms away and you lift the fingers tall. Let's do 1 more. Exhale, bowing down. Inhale, reaching tall. And then taking the arms away from you, just touching the fingers down to the earth. All 10 fingers, or 8 fingers, 2 thumbs, down to the earth. Drop your chin into your chest, Jalandhara Bandha. We're going to notice here perhaps this whispering quality of the breath. This time to really tune in. We're checking in rather than checking out in our practice. Now here, let's take a seated cat-cow. I like to land the hands onto the thighs. You're going to draw the elbows into the waist. Squeeze your shoulder blades as if you're trying to crack a walnut between the shoulder blades and puff the chest. Open the throat even as the gaze lifts. And as you exhale, those hands are going to slide over the kneecaps. And again, it's this feeling of rounding the back, navel pulls in. We'll do a few more. Inhale, elbows into waist, squeeze the shoulder blades, lift the sternum. Exhale, rounding through the spine, chin tucks into the chest. For 2, exhale. And for 1, exhale. Bringing the soles of your feet together. Soles of the feet together. You don't have to have this narrow diamond from this way on. Perhaps it's a little better with the perspective. You can have your heels way further away, so it's more of an open diamond. And you could even give yourself a perch on a brick. So just by elevating the seat, the heels are lower than the hips, and this forward fold, the next part, perhaps is a little more accessible. It's really down to you. I prefer without the brick. So we're bringing the fingertips down to the mat as we did before, and we're going to just start to walk the fingertips forward, bowing the head down. So our Baddha Konasana, the Sanskrit language I like to pepper in through the practice. We might get familiar with these names, but butterfly pose, Baddha Konasana, forward fold. And you might even find that that brick is useful to land your forehead, and you might be able to gain a little more depth, a sense of relaxing into the pose. We'll take for a few more breaths, for 3. And for 2. And for 1. Inhale, restack. We're going to try out a little twist here. So it's possible to either take your brick down to the right hand side of you and take your right forearm onto your brick and lift your forearm, other arm up and over. Or you might, and I'm going to do it this way to make it really obvious, thread the arm underneath. So my forearm goes between this gap of the knee and the calf muscle. This left sit bone is grounded, and then this left arm reaches up and the heart spirals up to the sky. The belly is drawing back. Inhale, either here or more of a side bend with or without the assistance of your brick. 2 breaths. 1 more breath. And then pick it up or unwind if you're here. And we take it to the other side. So you're creeping that left forearm under. You're reaching this right arm up. Spiral that rib cage, dial that armpit up to the sky. Your option is your side bend. We'll take 2 breaths. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. And you're just going to unwind either from there or from your side bend, picking up the chest. Now a little bit of a balance, our floating lotus. If you were to pick your knees up, draw the heels a little bit closer in toward your pubic bone. Could you perhaps thread this right arm beneath the calf muscle, thread your left arm beneath the calf muscle. So we're a little bit more pretzel-like, we're a little bit more sort of tightly bound there. And then could you pick up your feet and join your feet, bringing your index, your thumb together, lifting the chest, proud with the chest. Our chin mudra, this joining of the index finger and the thumb. The remaining 6 fingers, they're outstretched. We float, we find that biting point. Maybe we smile, and then we unwind here. Exhale, releasing that down. You're going to extend your right leg out to the side and keep this left knee in a bent position. Maybe you take the foot to the inner thigh, but that is non-essential. Now we could either take a brick here to land the right forearm onto, keeping this left hip, left buttock landed down, and you're going to lift the left arm up. Some of you may find this right peace finger, index finger to pull onto this right toe. The brick becomes a little redundant there. The elbow goes behind the shin and we lift the arm all the way up and over. Some of you might find that you can touch. So we're lifting the chest, rolling open through the chest. Armpit rises up to sky. One more breath here. Inhale, releasing. From here, we're going to draw the feet down, bend the knees and hold behind the thighs, rolling onto the back of the pelvis, lifting through the chest, lifting the feet, coming into either our Ardha Navasana, half boat pose, or straightening the legs, coming into Navasana. You could keep that grip behind the thighs. You might lower into teepee hands holding either side, or you might lift the arms up. We hold here. One more breath. Land the hands, land the toes. Left leg lengthens out. Right foot draws in. So it's sort of heel into pubic bone, put some teeth in, or foot into the thigh. And you want these left toes to be pulling back. Think toes to sky. Maybe your brick. You might have one side that feels perhaps a little bit kinder than the other. And we take the left forearm down. And if you've got monkey arms like myself, then maybe you've got that grip. And you go for the index finger to the big toe. I'm going between the first and the second and I'm gripping around. My chest stays really open. I'm not allowing the chest to concave. I'm dialing the armpit up. I'm drawing all of myself over to bring the right arm up. And maybe that brick isn't needed and you start to bend the elbow behind. You might lift the arm up and over. Maybe this right hand touches the foot. I'm way tighter on this side, as you can see here, with a low back injury I'm currently working with. So we work with what we've got. It's all about really meeting yourself where you are each time you step onto the four corners of the mat. It's this self-acceptance, this real sort of being present, being here, rather than somewhere else in our head. And then we're going to release that. We'll come into that boat pose one more time. I'm going to do it sideways on, just in case there's any doubt of how to get into it. So plug your feet down, hold behind your thighs, roll to the lower back. You're going to lift your feet, maybe lift your shins. Maybe those arms reach. Maybe your legs lengthen. Maybe your arms lift tall. We hold here for 2, for 1. Land your toes. Have a little flop over the legs. Give yourself a squeeze. Holding here. Then lengthen your legs out. And as I said at the beginning, if you have a brick, then fabulous. I'm going to say medium height. So we've got level 1, level 2, level 3. This is the hardest. Let's try on the medium level. And you're just going to take this brick just off center to the right. Not in the middle, just off center. Probably in line with your ankle. We're going to focus on this right leg and we're building a little bit of hip flexor resilience. So take your hands down by your hips. And this pose, when the legs are together, we've zipped up the inner thighs, we've pulled the toes back. This is Dandasana. Yeah, so we're really using this pulling back of the lower abdomen, dropping down into the shoulders. Chin draws a little bit back into the chest. Crown of the head is lifting. My thighs are engaged, my kneecaps are lifting. I'm activating the bandhas, those energy locks. Our Mula Bandha, really zipping in and up with that pelvic floor. The Idyada Bandha, the navel drawing back to the spine. And our Jalandhara Bandha, chin to chest. So we've got this lock. Maha Bandha, the 3 bandhas joining together. So from here, we've built up a little bit of strength, we've built up a little bit of power in the legs. I'd like you to take your right heel out to this right edge of your mat. We're not focusing on the left, this can just be to the side. You're going to take maybe your fingertips to creep a little bit further in front, come up onto these teepee hands. Now think about pressing down into the hands as a little bit of counterbalance. Could you inhale and lift that right heel up and over your brick to the inside, up and over to the outside. And we'll do it for 3 and 2. Fires up that hip flexor pretty quickly. And 1, in, out. And then we're going to take it to the other side. So slightly off center to the left. Focusing on the left leg, I would pull your toes back just to engage this quad muscle. And we lift. For 3. And for 2. I know. And for 1. Lovely. Now we're going to try both legs together. So if you have 2 bricks, you're going to take them with quite a gap, remembering that the feet are both going to come inside these bricks. So we go a little bit wider, and it's going to be almost like the legs are in a little low V, and they go in, low V and in. So for this, I would round your back a little bit more. You're drawing that navel back. You're pressing down. Your shoulders might be lifting by your ears. And we're going to lift for 1, and for 2, and for 3, and for 4. And then you're going to pull your toes back. Hold on to the bricks. Paschimottanasana. You might hold over the tops of the feet, the outside edges of the feet, or the big toes. Breath in, lengthen your spine, and breath out, chest down to shins. 2 more, breath in. Breath out. Think about these little pinky toes fanning back toward your nose. Last one, breath in. And breath out. Stack your spine, cross your legs, and you're coming into your tabletop. So all fours here, hands and knees. Let's just take a little sway of the hips side to side, and then walk the hands a little bit further forward and start to draw a figure of 8 with the hips. So you're just really swimming in those sensations of anything that feels a little bit sticky. If there's any little gritty sections, can you go the other way? If you come across an area that's feeling perhaps needs a little more attention, maybe you roll through that, yeah? So finding whatever you might find today. And then returning the hands back underneath the shoulders. That right arm reaches forward, inhale, left leg extends back. And we're just going to take the hand, the knee down. We'll do 2 more. Inhale, get long. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. This time, inhale, get long. Bend your back knee, hold the inside of the foot. We come into half bow. You're kicking your shin back. Kick your foot into your hand. Press down into your left fingertips, thumb tips. 1 more breath. Inhale, get long. Exhale, hand and knee down. Drop the hips back. Walk the hands forward, child's pose, taking 2 breaths. 1 breath. Take your drishti forward. Soft gaze through the gap of the arms. Bring your hands back under your shoulders. Left arm, right leg. Breath in, we get long. Breath out, land. 2 more. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. This time, inhale. Bend your back knee. Sweep that left arm around. Find the inside of the foot. Kick, kick, kick into that shin. Spread your fingers on your right hand. Roll open into your left shoulder. 1 more breath here. And then extend. And then lower the hand. Lower the knee. Come back into your child's pose. Take a moment. Take your gaze forward. Hips forward. Slide your right shin forward. Cross your right thigh over your left thigh. So I'm going to be slightly off to the left. Doesn't really matter. You might like a brick to sit back onto. My thighs are crossed and I'm bringing my seat down to the earth. You could land a brick beneath you. Maybe you encourage your heels to squeeze into your hips. Seated shoelace. from here, we're going to just walk the fingers forward. Could be on bricks, could be teepee hands, and drop the chin into the chest. Seated shoelace. So noticing perhaps that compression to the inseam of the legs, that stretch to the outer hip. You might walk the hands off over to the left here. Back to center and off over to the right here. And back to center. Coming forward, back onto the knees. Unwind the legs however you need to get there. Set your hands shoulders width distance. Tuck your toes. Pick up your knees and find our first downward facing dog. So you could have a softening in the knees, spread through the 10 fingers. Little micro bend in those elbows so we know we're not hyperextending, we're not locking and dumping into those joints. Start to pedal through your heels so one drops and the other lifts. Walking your dog for 4 and for 3. Keep the breath going. And for 1. Quieten down the legs, shake the head as if you're saying no, left and right. Oh, sighing out the mouth. And then find your right leg to lift. So 3-legged dog without that disrupting the shoulders. So your shoulders are squared off to the top of the mat. You're really plugging down through the fingertips, gripping with the knuckles of the hands. And we step through top of the mat and Vinyasa, runner's lunge. Left knee kisses down. We're just going to lift the chest, lift the arms, pick up the gaze. Tailbone lengthens. Now offering perhaps the bricks underneath the hands, framing front foot. You could go for your teepee hands here. I like to soften my back foot. This is yogi's choice. You could go medium height. Those hips go back. Peel the toes toward your eyes. Excuse me, really root down into this front heel. Half Hanuman, half monkey. We'll give it 4 breaths. And you can almost bring in this sort of wave like inhale, exhale, inhale, exhale. You can have a slight softening behind that right knee. Maybe you're walking those bricks just that little smidge further forward. Exhale. On your next inhale, set down those 5 toes. So the weight transfers forward. If I move my brick, you want to think about ankle under knee and really melting these 5 toes down as if you're setting 5 pebbles into the sand. Get rid of your bricks. Take your left hand to the inside of this right foot and turn your right toes to about 2 o'clock or 3 o'clock, pivoting on the heel of the foot, toes turn. Lifting up your right arm, that might be enough here. Could you pick up your back knee by tucking your toes? Hips hang a little heavier, rising up through the middle right finger. One more breath here. You might like to drape the arm behind the back. Find that left small of the waist. Inhale, breathing in, reach the arm up. Exhale, toes turn to the top of the mat, hands ground down. Step it back to downward facing dog. Hips lift up high. Shoulders roll away from the ears. Coming forward with your gaze, undulate the spine forward into your high plank. Exhale, you're going to lower Chaturanga Dandasana. Inhale, maybe it's your up dog, inner seams of the legs joined together. Exhale, down dog. Find your knees wide, your big toes close together. Walking your hands over to the right, left hand stacks on top of the right. Find a little more breath in the back left rib. And an inhale takes you to the center. And that following exhalation takes you over to the left, right hand stacks. A few more breaths here, breathing and isolating to the back of the right side. Inhale takes you to the midline of the mat. Soft drishti through the gate of the arms, picking up the hips here And again, it might be like a little look over the right shoulder, a little look over the left shoulder, just finding what mobility is available in that lower space of the back today. One more here. Tuck your 10 toes, pick up your knees, coming to your downward facing dog. We'll take a nod of the head as if we're saying yes. You're going to look forward, top of the mat. You could pick up the heels and bend the knees. And if you would like, you're going to take a light jump behind the wrists. You could walk or you could jump. Uttanasana. Find your fold. For more stability, heel toe the feet about hips width distance. You might find those peace fingers between first toe, second toe. Hook under the big toe. Draw the elbows out wide. Soften your knees and sandwich your chest to your thighs. This is, of course, optional. Finding your bind in your forward fold. One more breath. You're going to release the hands. Heel toe the feet out to the edge of your mat. Toes are out, heels are in. Sink your hips down. Bring your hands to Anjali Mudra. We're pressing actively into the feet so we don't just dump into the hips. You can see the difference, the lift and the dumping. We come into our Malasana. There might be a little walk side to side of the feet there. Using the elbows to press to the inner thighs to really encourage the external rotation of the thigh bone. Bringing your hands all the way down, lifting your hips all the way up. Spin so your toes face the backs of the wrists here. We dangle the head. Bend your knees, come to your chair pose, lift the arms up, sink the hips down. Holding here. One more breath. And standing tall. Tadasana. Bring your feet together, standing to the top of the mat. Lift your right arm high up to the sky. Standing into the right leg, bend your left knee and hold the inside of the left foot. Knees, thighs glued together. Reach through the crown. Start kicking into that back foot. Start leaning forward with the chest. Keep the gaze through that right middle finger. There's a forceful kick to open the back shoulder. There might be a little bend in that supporting right knee. Give it 2 more breaths. Dancer's pose. 1 more breath. Bring everything back. Land the foot, sweep the arm up. Make a fist. We send the hips over to the left. Indudalasana. Squeeze your biceps to your ears. Press through the knuckles. Inhale, center. Exhale to the right with the hips. Indudalasana. Side bend. Inhale. Exhale. Take the arms all the way down. Find your forward fold. Uttanasana. Inhale. Pick up the shin. Pick up the gaze. Take your hands to the shins. Exhale, plant your hands, step your right foot back. Step your left foot back, find your plank. Lifting the kneecaps and think about your frontal hip bones drawing toward your eyes and your sit bones drawing back to your heels. Shift the weight forward, bend the elbows, chaturanga. You might go all the way to the floor. Tops of the feet soften. Inhale, lifting the heart, cobra. Exhale, we come back to that child's pose. Hips low, heart heavy, soften across the brow. You might massage the forehead over to the left, over to the right. And we're going to take the gaze forward. Keep those hands fairly further forward so you've got space to really slide this left shin in front of the right, and you're going to cross the knees, cross the thighs. You'll be slightly off to the right here. You're going to sit all the way back, and you could land yourself on a brick, maybe just holding the heels to encourage them in toward the hips. We're in that seated shoelace, left thigh over right thigh. That might be enough. It can feel pretty strong. Maybe you're walking your fingertips forward and there's this sort of invitation to drop the gaze. Soften the gaze, soften the drishti. Find your fold. Maybe that's a little bit more. Bricks could get involved here. Both sit bones grounded to the earth. We'll do for 3 breaths. And for 2 breaths. You can always ripple the spine. And for 1 breath, inhale. Exhale. Bring your gaze forward. Bring your hands and your weight forward onto your knees like you're crawling. Unwind the legs, hands, shoulders width, top of the mat. Tuck your toes, pick up your hips and look through that gap. Drishti between the gap of the legs. Go for that little pedal through the heels. 1 drops, the other lifts. 1 lifts, the other lowers. For 2. And for 1. Left leg, 3-legged dog. Inhale. Exhale, step it forward, top of the mat, land your back knee. We lift the chest, drop the tailbone, lift your gaze, reach through the fingers. Exhale, setting teepee hands down or using your bricks to frame that front foot. I like to untuck the back foot, send those hips back, root down into this front heel, peeling all 5 toes back to your chin. We hold here 4 breaths. There's this real feeling of almost drawing this left thigh bone back and slightly smidging this right hip forward. So the hips, as if they had headlamps on the front of them, they would both be shining those lights forward, not off to the side, not skew with. Another breath. Inhale, exhale. Inhale, set your 5 toes down, shift the weight forward, really landing into this ankle, this knee. Get rid of your bricks, set your right hand down inside the foot, and we're turning the left toes to 2 o'clock or to 3 o'clock. The heel doesn't move, it's cemented down there. You could lift your left arm, that might be enough. You could tuck your toes, pick up your knee and let your hips kind of sag there, hang down. You might wrap that left arm behind your back, finding the small of your right side of waist. 1 more breath. Inhale. Exhale. Set the hands down, turn the toes to the top line of the mat. Step it back into your downward facing dog. We ripple forward. Inhale, high plank. Exhale, lower chaturanga. Inhale, cobra or up dog. Exhale, downward facing dog. Taking the gaze forward, lifting the heels, bending the knees. Perhaps it's that light jump with that light landing or a walking forward. Find your forward fold. Inhale, bend your knees. This time I've got ankles, shins and thighs together. There's a little more feedback. Keep those knees in line, draw the lower belly back, sit a little bit lower. Energy through the fingers, space between each one of the ribs. 1 more breath here, Utkatasana, chair pose. Inhale, straighten. Leave your left arm tall. Standing into your left leg, that right arm, cartwheels behind, it finds the inside of that right foot, your thighs, your knees glued together. Kick into that foot, reach forward with your left fingers. Little micro bend in that left knee so we're not jarring and dumping into the joints. Keep breathing. Keep sending that intention through your left fingers. Where's your drishti? Where's your focus? 1 more breath. Bring it all together. Land the feet, find a fist. Inhale, squeeze your ears, tuck your tailbone under, squeeze the glutes. Hips to the right this time. Exhale, Indudalasana. Inhale back to center. Exhale, hips to the left, Indudalasana. Inhale back to center. Exhale, swan dive down, soften your knees, find your fingertips just in front of your toes, chin into chest. Halfway lift, hands to shins, lengthen your spine, set your drishti down to the floor, draw the lower belly back. Can be a bend of the knees here. We plant the hands down, step the left foot back, right foot back, find your plank. Think of your frontal hip bones drawing toward your eyes. Your sit bones drawing back to your heels. Shift your weight forward, chaturanga. Inhale, cobra or up dog. Exhale, we're going to down dog this time. Finding some space through the inner line of the arms. Lift up through your kneecaps. Make sure all the fingers are working equally. They are all active. Some haven't started to get lazy. Right leg lifts, three-legged dog. Breath in. Breath out. Bend the top knee. Open the hip as if you're stacking your right hip over your left hip into your split dog. Inhale back to a straight knee. Square off the hips. Send your drishti forward. We're coming into pigeon. Right knee to right wrist. Tuck your left toes, walk your left knee back, and you could always use your brick here just to set your right hip onto. From here, making sure there's space, no water bottles in the way, to walk your right hand long forward, all the way forward. It could be that you set it on a brick for a little more space. Here, you'll see why. This left arm threads all the way under. My left palm is facing up to the sky. My left cheek, my left ear dials down to the earth. So we're coming into this eye of the needle, this threaded pigeon. Can you allow your hips to sink low? Can you allow that tongue to maybe just flop to the left wall of the cheek? Breathing here, melt, melt, melt. Give in an extra 2%. Ah. One more breath. Inhale, unravel. Bringing your chest to lift. TP hands either side. Pick up your chest. Press away from the earth. Elbows bend. We're going to melt the heart. 2 more. Inhale, we lift. Exhale, we lower. Inhale, we lift. And exhale, we lower. You can take your left hand down. You could bend your back knee and you might find the inside of the foot, kicking your foot into your hand to really open up through the shoulder and build a little more resilience into the front of that left hip. 1 breath. Release the foot without pinging it. Take the hands about shoulders width distance. You're going to pick up your hips, pick up your back knee. Bring it back to your downward facing dog. Lift your right leg, open up your top hip. That might feel way more open now. Stepping through, right foot lands, back heel lands. Toes are facing toward the top of the mat. Really nice here to bring in your bricks to frame your front foot. You can see how my spine then really got long rather than rounded because I was emphasizing the touching of the floor. So bringing in your bricks, heels both down. Knees maybe have a little micro bend. We come into that pyramid pose. Your drishti is down to the earth. The back of the neck you can breathe from, it is long. From here we come into our revolved triangle. You could etch your left hand brick to the inside of your foot. You might even lower it down. Take your left hand down. Option for hand to floor. Taking your right hand to your sacrum, elbow arrows up. Start to squeeze the inner thighs together. Keep way down into both the heels. Look over to the right. Look up to the sky. Pressing into both inseam and outer blade of the foot. Could you lift that right arm? Opening up. Keeping those hips squared off. Exhale, hands frame that front foot. Let's take the hands down as you bend the front knee. Coming all the way back into your downward facing dog. Have a breath. In through the nose. Out through the mouth. Left leg lifts, 3-legged dog. Breath in, breath out. Bending that top knee, maybe having a little glance underneath that left armpit. Stacking left hip over right, split dog. Little bend in those elbows there. And then inhale, shine that left toe up to the sky. Square your hips, send your drishti forward. Pigeon pose, left knee behind the left wrist. Tuck your right toes, walk your right knee back. There might be a need for something underneath your seat, especially if you feel that you're really high up or you're surfing off to the left. So support where support might be needed. From here, it's your left arm forward. I'm going to use a brick myself. Your right arm threads all the way through. Maybe your right ear, your right temple can land to the earth. And we hold here, maybe in this threaded variation of pigeon. And we've got another few breaths for 4. Notice if your face is really serious. Can you relax across the brow and the tongue in the mouth? maybe even behind the ears, these areas that we maybe don't know that we're holding, toes even. Inhale to unravel. Bringing those teepee hands into play, probably the top corners of the mat, but they could go wider. And then we take that inhale, press away, exhale, lower down. For 2, inhale, exhale. Inhale and exhale. Chest lifts, right hand grounds down, back knee maybe pops up. You might stay there, take your left hand to your hip. Maybe you can find the inside of the foot, but you're kicking your foot into the hand to build a little resilience in that right hip. Holding for 2. Holding for 1. Without pinging that right foot, release it down. Hands are about shoulders width. Tuck your back toes. Pick up your back knee. Step it all the way back. Your 2 feet are your pillars at the back of the mat. Your 2 hands, your arms are your pillars at the front of the mat. And you're sort of suspended midway. Notice the strength of your limbs. A breath here. Inhale. Exhale. Left leg lifts. Left knee bends. Exhale. We come into that split dog. Inhale, straighten the leg, step through, but not as far forward because we want to bump this right foot forward, ground through that back heel, and maybe bring those bricks into play. If you don't have bricks, hands on a shin works really nicely. Try not to press the knee back, so the shin, and then lengthening your spine, feet measured out almost like they're on train tracks rather than a tightrope. Breath, long spine, breath, maybe dropping chest. Pyramid pose. Think of your inner thighs like super strong magnets and they're trying to draw themselves in toward each other. Now walking your right hand either on brick, lowering the brick, or down to the earth, to the inside of this front foot. Left hand to the sacrum. I've got my fingers pointing down to my tailbone, my left shoulder's rolling back, which is encouraging my gaze to go that way as well. I'm making sure that my back heel is grounded. I'm opening up through the left side, maybe lifting the left fingers to the sky, keeping the length from my tailbone to the crown of my head. Revolve triangle, 1 more breath. Exhale. Finding the hands either side of this front foot and step it all the way back to down dog. If you'd like to go through a final vinyasa, you could move through your high plank, your chaturanga dandasana, your up dog or cobra, and then find your down dog, or you might work on a little stability with me holding in down dog. And then we're going to pick up the heels, bring it down to the knees, bring it sideways so that you've got some traction on your mat and maybe a brick for your elbows. Walking the knees, the shins, the ankles away from each other and peeling back the feet. So I've got a flexed foot, either side, coming into froggy pose. Not the most elegant of poses to come into. The elbows go down. We're going to allow the head to drop. You might find that it's fine with the elbows on the floor. I've got a fairly hard surface here. Toes are pulling back. Is your knee and your ankle in line? Is it a 90-degree angle? You might have a little look over to measure. Rather than the heels being in, can they be in line with the knees? Hips are heightened. Holding here. You might rock back somewhat, rock forward, testing the boundaries there. Little frog rocks to finish, really opening through the groin, the hips. 1 more, little rock back, forward. And again, quite inelegant to exit this one. Hands go down, walk your knees in. We'll come to hero pose, kneeling. Hands on the thighs, shoulders down away from the ears. Close your eyes and you might feel that sort of resonance, that sort of tingling there to the inner thighs. We end in seated shavasana. So you might be fine as you are, might be cross-legged, might be that you find a wall to lean against. Just noticing the length of the spine, Noticing the breath. Body starting to cool in the slowness, in the stillness. We've moved quite a lot throughout the sequence and the practice today. If you're needing to lie down, of course, and you've got more time, you might just wait for the video to end and take a longer Shavasana, and that might be just what's needed. So holding this agency over your practice, if that is what you need to do, really note that calling, follow that. If you're with me, just keeping the eyes closed, dropping the gaze, just finding a little bit of time that we carve out right at the end of the practice to come back. Because it's not always the case that we find that the mind is still and present throughout the whole of the practice. This is the challenge. Staying seated if that's possible. It might just be that you start to wiggle your toes beneath you. You might start to roll the shoulders up, back and down. Inhale up, exhale back and down. Maybe just taking the chin into the chest. Right ear, right shoulder, spin it all the way back. Got a really big click there, left ear, left shoulder, and then the other way. We'll bring the hands to the heart. The light in me recognizes the light in you. Namaste. Bowing the head, lowering the heart.